Welcome to Wei and Kathy Show. I'm your host, Wei Fang. Okay, a court drama that has captured the attention of the entire nation ended today with the 7 people jury deliver their verdict on the Depp versus Heard case. And the whole nation was literally holding its breath until noontime today. And so this will be the main topic that Wei Fang will be bringing you today. So before we continue, just a little explanation here. Okay, so going forward, we are trying to make this show a daily show. And so Wei will be doing like 3 days, and while Kathy will doing the other 3 days. So that added up, that's 5 days, because one of the day we'll be co-hosting together again. So hopefully we can bring you a more in-depth news report, and that's what we want to do with you. So before we continue, remember to subscribe. Sometimes you got unsubscribed, and also click that little bell and turn on the all notification. If you like our program, please also press like. Little actions help us help this show grow and reach more people. All right, so coming back to, we're very glad to be back here because we were, stopped for 1 week due to a strike, which we explained before. So hopefully going forward, the sale will be more smooth. Anyway, okay. So talking about the Depp versus Heard show, Depp versus Heard case, and Depp was rewarded by the jury $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages, which is quite significant. Okay, punitive damage, indicating that jury clearly is taking is siding with him, and in his defamation suit, and the jury also awarded Heard $2 million in compensatory damages, but no punitive damage. So clearly, if you look at all, it's basically a win for Depp. And Depp saying that, thank you for get my life back. So, in this case, this is really a big landmark case, and with the 2 celebrities from Hollywood just versus each other with so many witnesses, many of them from Hollywood too, taking a stand and try to, clarify what is indeed the truth. And then Depp said he did not sue to win the money. It's for the money, but rather is for the truth. And now he's appreciated that the jury give him his life back. So my question is to you guys. Okay, have you been following the show? And what do you think? Do you agree with the verdict or do you not? And if you can, please type your opinion here. Do you side with the jury or do you not? That's okay. Alexandra Werewolf said she's mental. Know how he feels. Yeah. Okay. So anybody else? So we welcome your input. And now, so I just want to share my observation here. While in the meantime, please keep posting your opinion here. So on this very matter, I think the case is really challenging for Depp. If you agree with me or if you know all the details first, this is a defamation. Defamation is very difficult, especially if you are a public figure. So you have to, on the Amber Heard side, and she basically says she has her First Amendment. The lawsuit from Depp is about a co-pad, right, on the article, basically, on the Washington Post. And clearly she's like a public figure, public figure representing the victims of the sexual and domestic abuse, all right? So she apparently have her First Amendment right like everybody else. So that's where, her attorney stands on. She has her right. She did not name Depp, and why couldn't she just, write out that article? All right, so to prove that Depp is defamed, and there's 3 basic conditions. First, the word against him has to be false. The second, it has to cause material damage. The third is most difficult one. It is out of malice. So in other words, the Depp or the Depp's team, attorney team, have to prove Heard did this intentionally. Have to prove that how Heard thought in her mind. That's why in this country defamation is very it's never easy to stand. So this is the first thing. The second thing, as you can see, Depp has looks like a rough guy and has been bearing a bad name over the years. And since they are divorced, there's enough bad publicity. And Amber Heard, before this trial, looks beautiful and dignified and seems to be a very decent lady. All right, that's the second thing. The third, along the way, Depp has been indeed, he already lost case in England, in the UK, because when the Sun, the British tabloid, the Sun published an article just basically criticizing Depp, and he sued the publisher. This is in 2018, and he lost the case, and he appealed. He lost the appeal again. So as a result, he lost his role in the Fantastic Beasts film series. So over the years, he actually lost altogether. People asked, I see estimate of he lost probably $500 million in income due to the bad name created by his marriage with Amber Heard. And then, in the meantime, while he bore the bad name, Amber seems to represent indeed, the political correctness. She is appointed as a ACLU ambassador for women's rights. Also, she's a human rights champion for the UN OHCHR, which is Office for High Commissioner for Human Rights. And this High Commissioner in the past few days just toured around Xinjiang of China, and basically whitewashed the CCP's name and what they did over in the Xinjiang, literally. So we did not go into that detail, but this is just summarized, my appraisal of her work over there. And Amber Depp was her human rights champion. All right, so she got a very good name, and she appeared as a victim and representing all the women who are victimized, and that's where she stands. So public opinion-wise, Depp faced a really uphill battle. And also the next one, the charge by each other is just unbelievable, right? One said this is true, one said this is black, the other said this is white. Only one person can be right. So while Amber Heard has been charging Depp has been verbally and physically abusive over the years, and has bad behavior as a result of his alcohol or the drug use and so on and so forth, a typical abusive husband. Well, Depp said, I never hit on any woman, including Amber Heard. So this is really just day and night, right? It's just completely different and just opposite each other. Only one person can be right. One person is an utter liar. So this is basically the show. That is why it attracts so much attention. And now, I don't know, what do you think? While I say that, I just want to say my opinion. Well, I want to read some of your feedback. Robert McCoy, you said, Me Too movement, stay away. They knew it was a bad case to support, Yeah. And then Alexandra's say again, people are saying that the Me Too movement is over. And Louis wrote, this is a daytime soap opera for Shippo. Sleight of hand, where was the Sussmann coverage of the acquittal from corrupt judge? Good question, Louis. And I do want to wrap this up fast, and I want to move to the Sussmann case, and because that's indeed very important. Anyway, I think you guys are. I saw your guys' opinion, and my opinion is this. Yeah, indeed, I think I really side with the jury's verdict, and over the last 62 days, and. We see with our own eyes. I don't know how much you have watched this soap opera. I did not. I just read from the excerpt from the media, and what I read is that people just in front of their eye, they see, gradually, step by step, they see the truth of, Amber Heard. Same thing with the Depp. okay? And she has been lying, and what she's been saying does not stand, simply does not stand, contradict or hold against the word from the other witness. And she just disregard all those. She doesn't seem to care. She just keep, just repeating her story, regardless to how, her story it was contradicted by other, eyewitnesses who come to the stand too. And over the time, this, this bad name, Johnny Depp, people come to recognize this guy seems to be telling the truth from the very beginning. So he was abused, and he, kept his mouth shut. He paid the $7 million to settle it, so that to send, Amber Depp to a good life of her, hopefully, and then he has to bear with the attack from the Sun, and then this new article in the Washington Post. He feel he cannot hold it anymore. That's why he just launched this very, very challenging and almost in the beginning almost like an impossible to win type of defamation suit, lawsuit, and he prevailed. So the takeaway, my takeaway is this, okay? We really cannot judge a person from his appearance, right? This thing I think everybody know. The second thing is this, I think over our system of jury, okay, jury system, we pick 7 common men with their common sense to judge our cases. Hear the story from both sides, cross-examination, and no matter how common you see this is very, very uncommon compared to where I came from, China. We don't have a jury system. They got a name, okay, they borrowed the name there, but the name never matched the truth. There's no basic fair trial. Okay, every trial decided by the party secretary that sit in the back room of the court. So we still have the system, right? And the system has been working for over 200 years, and it seems to be working this time again. And over the time, with all those cross-examination, the truth of these two figures show. One is an honest person and has been, persevering through all those years. And finally, when enough is enough, he came out and tried to, wash clean his name through this lawsuit. Another person, a beautiful lady, has been lying all along the way and appeared to be noble and to be big and to be high. And now in front of the eyes of the whole nation, she fell apart. Do you agree with my assessment? So I feel appreciated, okay? For our jury system that worked, and then that lead to our next topic, which is another jury, another juror, okay? A group of jurors in this one is in the Fairfax or Virginia. Let's move on to the next topic, okay? Which is the Sussmann case. All right. As we know, in the Sussmann case, the requirement or the challenges. The prosecutors, the John Durham team, they has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Sussmann committed a crime, and the only charge and now is charged that he was not doing work on behalf of he said he was not doing work on behalf of a client, okay. But rather bring the data as a citizen concerning with the national security to the FBI on September 16th of 2016. Okay, that's why when this Sussmann, okay, this attorney of the Hillary Clinton campaign team, he went to meet with James Baker, who is the general counsel of the FBI as a personal citizen, and to present with him this 2 thumb drive and 1 white paper alleging that Trump has a backdoor connection with a Russian bank called the Alpha Bank. All right, that's how it happened. And then he, according to James Baker, he said he only represented himself, but as a matter of fact, he billed the meeting with Baker to the Hillary Clinton's campaign. So basically, he's working for them. That aside, he also, in March, there's 1 text message came out, and text message clearly says so. Do you have availability for a short meeting tomorrow? This is the message from Sussmann to Baker. I'm coming on my own, not on behalf of a client or company. Want to help the bureau. Thanks. All right. So can you see this is clear, irrefutable evidence to pin down Sussmann. Yet the jury let him go. Why do you think the reason? What's the reason for that? So I look under the hood and I share with you what I discovered. Okay, first obstacle is a difficult case. Okay, it's a difficult case for the for the John Duran because when he filed this case against the Sussmann back in the September of last year, it was the last month of the 5-year period where he's allowed to file any lawsuit against him. He cannot wait anymore. So what he got is only James Baker's testimony. All right, and James Baker met with the Sussmann privately. There's no second official there. James Baker did not take note. They just have this conversation. He took the thumb drive and he took the white paper, and then Sussmann left. Then James Baker talked to another FBI officials who about the matter, and he went back and just took the note down, and that's the only evidence remained. And then, but now we got this phone message from Sussmann himself to James Baker on the day before their meeting. Isn't that enough? Okay, the text message is clearly there. It's irrefutable. However, what happened is this. Because of this 5-year expiration date, Duran cannot go back to add the text message as the evidence to the original case. So the jury was constructed, they cannot make that decision based upon text message. But, well, the prosecutor can mention it. They can only ultimately based upon James Baker's testimony in judging whether Sussmann lied to the FBI. All right, so that's the first difficulty. And then the defense approach is saying that James Baker, you could remember things wrong. Last time you remembered it wrong, this time you remembered it wrong. How can you be sure on this particular issue what is that is true? So that's the, that's the difficult part. That's the first thing. All right. The second is to prove Sussmann violated the law. That has two conditions. First, his word, he lied. He lied to the FBI, in this case to James Baker. The second, the lie has to have material damage, a material impact. All right? So then what is the defense approach? And they said, it's not a Sussmann, it's not an unknown guy. Everybody knows that, he worked for Hillary Clinton, and the FBI know that. So FBI took his material, write a report, start an investigation, and throughout those investigations, they redacted the name of Sussmann, which indicating that FBI know that where he come from, is sensitive information. So that's why they redacted. Okay, that's the first thing. The second, FBI made a fatal mistake by misrepresenting, in other words, by lying to quote the source from Sussmann to DOJ, Department of Justice. Okay, so in this case, the defense attorney said, "See, FBI, they have their own idea. They even alter the record to misrepresent the source of the information. How can you blame my client? Which is just to say those light word, and it does not have a material impact. So based upon these two reasons, okay." The jury say they cannot prove beyond the reasonable doubt, so they let Sussmann go. What do you think? Actually, it sounds very convoluted, right? It's very complicated. It's a simple matter. Did this guy lie or not? There's text message, even though it cannot be added back to the case, it does exist, and nobody refuted it. So it's a common sense, judgment to do that. And a second, issue. Inside FBI, we got this Peter Strzok, right? Peter Strzok, who is running the show there. Basically, chances are he collaborated with Sussmann, so they are just working together. They could be just working together. And then now they're using that because Peter Strzok, the counterintelligence deputy director of the FBI, who he was just kicked out of FBI and stop all his pension. And then this guy, as a matter of fact, and is not is not charged. He's not on the stand. But he used his behavior to vindicate Sussmann. Because you can see Sussmann's role is very small. It does not have a material impact. The FBI, IG, Peter Strzok, know what he want to do. So that's the case. Okay, that's how this guy walk away free. But now we still need to look at the key issue, the jury, the juror, right? The jury 12 people, they should have their good common sense based upon that to make the judgment. Can they? Even though the law is so convoluted, but can they just make a common sense, verdict, which then deliver the right verdict, in my view? They did not. Why? Well, just a few things to quote, fact for you to know. Among the jurors, okay, one federal government employee they said to the judge, they say they, not he, they donated to Democrat in 2016. I don't know how many people are in that they. Another person said they strongly dislike former President Trump. Okay, again, we don't know how many in that they. And but why they still stay as the juror? Because the judge asked them, can you be impartial? They say, yes, we can be impartial. All right, so in the District of Columbia, out of the people there, 90% of them vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016. 12 people were picked, and then they just made that decision. After seeing through everything I just talked about, after knowing everything we know about this, they made the decision to acquit. They let Sussmann go. So that's it. And even one FBI official who took the evidence or the material from Sussmann and went on to do the investigation said, multiple of them come to the court and saying that they don't believe, the material, the white paper, went to anything. One person went as far as saying that, the DNS data on a thumb drive was drafted by someone who was 5150, as you know, was mental. It's just crazy. They're just crazy guys. Really, they got nothing, and they prompt us to move. So that's basically the story. What do you think? This is what I found out. The reason that why the verdict was done in that way. However, here I want to add something here. Okay, it's a high-profile case. The mainstream media does not quite report it. Okay, did not report it enough. They reported way more, Depp versus Heard throughout in the last few weeks. So Elon Musk tweeted saying that I just learned about the case 1 month ago. And Elon Musk bring a lot of exposure to this matter. But anyway, just among the politicians, public elected officials, or legal expert, or basically journalists, people who know what's going on, who just watch the case, they know the fact. And let me share you with the fact. The fact is, John Durham may lost the battle, but he still let the truth be known, okay? Because now we have known that the Alpha Bank, the Russian Alpha Bank, Trump's so-called collaborating or communicating with that Alpha Bank, and also the Christopher Steele's dossier, all those, they all came from Hillary Clinton's team, okay? The origin is all there. And Hillary Clinton know that this is highly suspicious or non-existent. She still agreed to use the information, okay, to disseminate the unproven and subsequently debunked information to the media, and this was validated by Robbie Mook, who is the Clinton campaign manager, okay, in this case, and we also know that. Another important case that I do want to mention, okay, Trump's director of national intelligence, his name is John Ratcliffe, if you still remember him. He declassified a note written by John Brennan, who is the former director of CIA, on July 28th of 2016, which is a month and a half before Sussmann went to FBI. And then John Brennan went as far as getting together former President Obama and Vice President Biden and Director of the FBI, James Comey, and then the National Security Advisor, Susan Rice, and then briefed them about this purported proposal from one of the Hillary Clinton's campaign foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by the Russian security service. Okay, this word came from a note, a handwritten note by John Brennan, which then was declassified by the John Ratcliffe, the former director of national intelligence. All right. The CIA went some further. CIA on the September 9th, which is 1 week before this meeting between Sussmann and James Baker, the CIA forwarded the same information through a counterintelligence operational lead, CIOL, to the then FBI Director James Comey and the then Deputy Assistant Director of the Counterintelligence, this Peter Strzok. And in that message, they clearly say per FBI verbal request, CIA provides below the examples of information, okay? And it says an exchange redacted, okay, discussing U.S. presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's approval of a plan concerning U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump and Russia hackers, hampering U.S. election as a means of distracting the public from her use of the private email server. All right, as you know, okay, at least President Obama, Biden, Susan Rice, James Comey all knew about this. What further is that this Peter Strzok was exactly in the circle. So he know exactly where all this thing come from. And this Peter Strzok later became the lead person under special counsel, right? Special prosecutor, Bob Mueller. And then they spent $30 million with the 15 full-time, prosecutor. And they're working on that for 2 years. They found nothing, right? But this Peter Strzok know the message from CIA, know the message from John Brennan. He know exactly where all this thing come from. Why didn't he tell Mueller? Did he tell? If he tell Mueller, then Mueller has a big problem. If he did not tell Mueller, then this guy, John Durham needs to chase after this guy. So all in all, that we know that the case was lost. Sussmann walked free, smiling. But people like us who got to know in depth into this case, we know that there's no Russian gate is a hoax. Trump is clean. Nothing was found. In the meantime, Obama, Biden's, Sullivan, the current national security advisor, and Bob Mueller possibly, and Peter Strzok for sure, they know where this come from. They all knew where this come from. So they never say anything. They let it happen. This is the state of our Washington, D.C. This is the state of our politicians. And then the final word I want to say is that if we got a powerful media, if this media, Son of Hope, have like 20 million viewers every night, and if I report this, it's going to be just like another Watergate. The country will be shaken. Things will just change right away. But unfortunately, powerful media of that size, of that scale, they don't do a thing. But we here as a small media, we're doing everything we can. So my conclusion is help us grow. Someday we want to get there, want to be big enough. We want to, with the truthful reporting, we'll be able to rectify what is wrong with this country. Okay, that's all I want to say with you. And thank you very much for watching tonight's show. And hopefully tomorrow, Kathy will be on. And then going forward, we'll have 5 shows a week. And stay with us. Thank you very much. I'm your host, Wei Fang. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Is a ballot cast in an envelope better than cast in person? What happens once a ballot is mailed back or dropped in the drop box? The core of our election system is to have ballots correctly reflect the wishes of the voter. Only then can we ensure consent of the governed. Learn how ballots are counted and why it is critically important to cast your ballot in person at a vote center. Search Happy Goose on Rumble and watch illustrated videos. Your vote is important. Make sure it counts.